In this video, I'll show you how you can build a Telegram chatbot connected with your Flowise instance, allowing you to chat not only with text but also send images and files. Right. So what I mean by that is you can not only have conversations in the form of text, but you can also upload files and images and ask further questions about them. Right. So that's what we'll see today. So this is how the structure of this video is going to look like. First, we'll look at the demo and we'll see how everything works. Look at the architecture of this build, and we'll also walk through the Flowise chat flow and also the n8n workflow. And after that, I'll quickly show you how you can set up a Telegram bot and connect it with your n8n. And finally, we'll see the improvements and enhancements that we could do to our current build. Right. So let's begin with the demo. So this is the Telegram bot that is connected to the entire build. Right. So let's just have a simple conversation. Right. Yep, we're getting this response, and this is a simple text conversation. This is nothing new, right? So now we'll see how I can just provide a simple CSV file, right? So I have this file here, CSV file, which has a list of industries mentioned here. So I'm just going to upload this and ask a simple question based on this, right? So I'm just going to ask list all the industries starting with G, right? The letter G. So we have these two industries here. So let's see what we get back, right? Just upload this. List the ones starting with G. So it's going to go through the file and give us the response based on the question. Yep, you can see government and military and green. Yeah, this is what we expected. And now let's also upload an image, right? So I have this image here. This is from one of my previous builds of a complete appointment management chatbot. So let me just upload this and ask what this is all about. How about this image? So just going to upload this, and it's going to read the content of the image. Yep, you can see the image appears to be a flow chart or diagram related to appointment management, and it also has some tools like booking, rescheduling, and canceling appointments. Right? So let me just ask another follow-up question. Let's see. So let me just ask a simple one saying, what's the color of tool nodes, right? So the ones connected over here, it's in orange. Let's see what it replies back. Let's see. Yep. So the tool nodes in the image are colored orange. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. So this is working perfectly fine, right? So this was a demo of the entire build, which accepts not only text but also files and images, and you can basically have chat with them, right? And next, how everything works, right? So let's look at that. Look at the architecture. So there are three important nodes or touch points, I would say, in this entire build. So the first one, everything starts from the Telegram bot. So the text conversation or any kind of input from the user is accepted through Telegram, and then it's sent to n8n. And n8n uses that data and then does some manipulation and beautification in between, so that it can make a request to Flowise chat flow, and after that it receives the response back and then passes it back to our Telegram chat, right? So this is how the architecture looks like. So this is like the uh, eagle view of the entire build. So we'll now next actually go through the Flowise chat flow walkthrough and also an n8n workflow walkthrough, so that you'll know exactly what's happening underneath, right? So first let's start with Flowise chat flow walkthrough. So this is the one which is powering the system, which is this is a simple chat flow, right? I have this conversation chain here, and which is connected to a chat OpenAI chat model and a buffer window memory of size 10, right? And after that, I've also connected a chat prompt template where I'm providing a system message. This is very basic system message, right? And after that, in the human message, I'm passing file and input, right? So if we just open the format prompt values, you can see what's the value being provided. For the input, it's the user question, so whatever user types in the input field of the bot. And then for the file, it's the file attachment that user uploads, right? So we're just passing both in the prompt and then sending it to LLM. So this is how the chat flow looks like. So talking about next step, which is the n8n workflow walkthrough. So this is the n8n workflow, and this is how it looks like. So let's zoom out a bit. Right. So you have this Telegram trigger here. So it basically waits for any message, and then once a message is sent, it gets triggered, right? And this is where we are setting the variable. So this is an important step as we are setting the Chatflow ID. So Chatflow ID is basically the one which we have built here, right? So we need this because we are going to use this Chatflow ID further down in the workflow, right? So that's why we're setting this here. And after this, we have a switch node which basically branches out based on different types of input that it receives. If it receives an image, then it goes to this route. If it receives any document, a file, it goes to this route. Or if it's just plain text, then it goes to this route, right? So before actually going into this, let me actually explain quickly about the API, right? The Flowise API that we are trying to hit in this flow, so that you'll have clear idea on what the structure of that API and how to use it. If you just go to Flowise official documentation, and then over here there's a section called uploads, right? So this is what we'll look at. So this basically tells you how you can upload image, audio, and different kinds of files through the chat interface of Flowise, and also through the APIs, right? So if you just go over here to upload images through API, so this is how you should provide the data, right? In the request that you're going to make. So the inside this uploads key, you have this data, and then you just have to pass in the base 64 string of the entire image, right? And then you just pass some metadata also into this object. So this is how you upload an image through API, and this is how you can do with audio. For this demo, I'm not doing audio, just images and files. So if you just scroll down even more, there's a section called files, and it talks about two different ways. For the first one is rag, and the other one is full file uploads. So in this demo, we'll look at the full file uploads, right? So if we just scroll down even further, so this is that section called full file uploads, right? So over here, if we just go, so as you can see, they've mentioned that if you're using chat prompt template node, an input must be created from a format prompt values to pass the file data, right? So you just have to create a simple variable called as file, and then provide that value with this file attachment that we've seen already in our chat flow, right over here. So we're doing exactly what it's mentioned in the documentation. And in this API, as you can see, in this request, we'll again provide the uploads key, and in the data we'll provide the plain text. So in this documentation, they're asking us to provide the base 64 string of the entire file, right? So which you can get through this endpoint. There's another endpoint over here. If I just open this, it's called create attachments array. So basically what you do is, for this endpoint, if you just send the binary data of the file, it will give you the base 64 version, which is what mentioned here, right? To get the base 64 string of the file, use this endpoint. But for some reason, this endpoint just returns the plain text of the entire file, right? This does not return the base 64 string. So this is what I'm using here. So as soon as I upload file to the Telegram chat section, so it hits our n8n workflow. So what I do is I use this endpoint, the create attachments API, by passing the binary of that file, and then get the text content of that file, right? And then I pass the text content over here, but not the base 64 as they have mentioned here. And also it gives you the MIME type, right? The MIME type, size, and content, and other metadata. So this is how you upload full files to your Flowise chat flow, right? So you can actually go through this documentation. It gives you a better idea on how everything's working underneath. Right? Perfect. So once you've understood the API that we are using underneath, let's look at the flow in itself, right? So first, let's look at the image route. What happens if I upload an image, right? So first thing is I get the image binary, right? So what I'll do is I'll just turn it off, and let me just click on test workflow and pass this image again, and just triggering this message again so that I can take you through this step by step, right? So it has gone through this route. As you can see, there's some error, but that's fine, let's just ignore it. So if I just go through the flow right over here, so I've just provided the image, so it went through this node, switch node, and then it took the image route. And if I just open this very quickly, right, you can see I'm uploading the image file ID, right? First I need to get the file which I've uploaded. So by default, Telegram just makes 4 different variations of the image that you upload. Sorry, 5 different variations depending on different dimensions, right? A small, bigger, larger, and other variations. So I'm just picking the large one because this is more clear, right? And it has more data on about the image that we have just uploaded. And after this, once we get the binary data, we extract the binary data over here, and we get the base 64 string, right? So this node basically takes the binary data and then gives the equivalent base 64 variant, base 64 string of that binary, right? And then we construct the payload as mentioned in the API that we have seen, right? So we're just passing the question, and then inside the uploads object, here is where we're passing the base 64 version from our previous node, right? So just take that base 64 string and then upload everything. And then also we're overriding the session ID, right? This is important because we need to maintain the same conversation all the time. So this is this is something that we get from Telegram. We're just passing it over here. And then once that's done, we just make a request to our Flowise uh, chat flow, right, that we have built. So you can see the URL, prediction URL, and then inside the body, right, we're just passing the JSON that we received from the previous node, right? And then we're getting the response. So this is the text response that we're getting, and the response is being sent back again. So the reason why it's saying error is because we need to just looks like there's some formatting issue, right? This text needs to be converted into plain text as it has some special characters. So Telegram is just raising an error on that characters, right? So I just need to fix that, but that's fine. Let me just remove this, and then now let me just upload this file, CSV file again. Let me just click on test workflow and ask it, tell me more about this. So if I just go back here, see, now it took the file document branch, and then it's going through Flowise, and then once it receives data, it just sends it back, right? Let's see what the response is. So it basically read the file and then gave us the description of that file, right? If I just take a look at it again, as usual, we first extract the binary data of the file that we just uploaded, right? So we get this and the binary data, and once we get the binary data, we just pass this binary data to the create attachments endpoint, right? So as you can see, it's called attachments, and we make a request to that by passing the binary in the body, right? Form data n8n binary file, the binary file which was generated in the previous node. We just pass it, and then that endpoint returns us the text format, right? The text data of the entire file, as we've seen over here. So it says it returns base 64 string, but it does not. It returns the string. it basically returns whatever the content of that file is in the form of string. Then once we get that string data from that endpoint, we just construct the payload again by passing the data that we received in the previous node. As usual, we just construct the MIME type and other metadata as well. And then we hit our Flowise once again. We generate the response and return it back to our Telegram chat. Right? And when it comes to text, it's pretty simple. We don't have to do anything much. We just have to just construct the payload, right? And in the question, we don't really need the uploads object here because we're not passing any media in this request, right? We're just passing the simple text question. You just pass the question, and then whatever you receive from the chat box, just pass that to our Flowise, and then we just return back the response, right? If I just show you how the switch node looks like, so this is pretty simple, right? So if I just open this section, right, and show you the schema, and over here message or document, yeah, everything depends on this, right? So inside this Telegram trigger, if there's an object called as document, then we decide that a file has been sent by the user, right? And then we take the document route. And if there's any object called as photo, right, inside this object called Telegram trigger, we know that the user has passed an image, and then we take the image route. And we don't if we don't find both of those values, then we know for sure that it's just a plain text, and then we take the last route, which is just handling the text, right? So this is how we handle different types of inputs from our Telegram bot, right? So this is how the entire workflow looks like. It's a simple one. Let me just save it again and enable this and go back, right? Perfect. So that was the walkthrough of our n8n workflow. Right. Now let's look at how you can set up a Telegram bot and connect it with your n8n, right? So if you just go back here, and if you just type bot father, you get this chat, right? If you just open this and just click on start, it gives you these options, and you just say new bot, create new bot, and tell it a little bit about your bot, right? Flowise bot, and then it just asks you to pick a name for it. Flowise 123 bot. So make sure it ends with underscore bot at the end. And once this is done, it gives you it creates the bot and also gives you the API key, right? Which you just need to copy. If you just click on this, so this is the new bot that you've just created. And since you've just copied the API key, all you have to do is come back to this workflow and then click on this Telegram trigger, and on this drop down just create a new credentials and paste in your access key that you just copied, right? And click on save, right? So that's how you can just quickly add your newly created Telegram bot to your n8n. And also make sure to replace or use wherever you've used the Telegram nodes, right? Make sure to use the same credentials everywhere else so that it's consistent. Perfect. So that's how you create a Telegram bot and connect it to your n8n. And let's look at the last section, which is improvements and enhancements that we could do to our existing build, right? So first thing is using RAG approach for larger files, right? So if you just go through this documentation again over this upload section, so as I've mentioned earlier, there are two different ways that you can deal with files, right? The first one is using RAG approach, and the second one is full file uploads. So we've seen this full file uploads where you upload a file, and then that file is converted to its binary version, and then we get the text content. We extract the text content from that file and then pass it to the prediction API, right? Our Chatflow API. That's how this is working. But what if the image size is larger and you want to parse a different kinds of file, right? Not just a PDF document, any other complex file that you want to deal with, then you just have to explore different options that we have. And one such option for larger files, right, when dealing with larger files, is through RAG, right? And it also explains how you can deal with RAG approach. right? All you have to do is just add the vector store that you want to store your file in. Once you have connected that, also make sure to enable the file upload option here. So what happens is, as soon as you upload a file, if you're using this RAG approach, right, as soon as you upload a file, the file will be first upsorted into your vector database, and then the same data is going to be used along with the question that you have provided, right? So first the file is upsorted into your vector database, and then every time you ask a question, it's going to be also looking at the vector database before answering the question. So this is how the entire flow works, and this is also what they've mentioned over here in the documentation as well, right? So they also look at, there's an or condition, right? See, when querying, an or filter applies. So when you ask a question, it also looks at your vector database before actually passing the request to LLM, right? So that's how this flow works. So this works fine when you're dealing with large files, right? But one downside is that the response time is going to increase, right? Rather than waiting for 1 2 seconds, you would have to wait much more, because there's one more step involved in this, which is to observe the data, right, into our vector database. So that's one drawback, or demerit, I would say, right? So for larger files, you could consider using the RAG approach. And the second one is basically the one which we have right now, is connected to a um, Telegram application, right? What if you want to use WhatsApp? You just basically replace all the Telegram nodes with WhatsApp relevant nodes that's available on n8n. If you just do that, then you can also connect WhatsApp to the existing flow, right? So that's how simple it is, and everything else remains the same. All you have to do is just replace these Telegram nodes with the WhatsApp relevant nodes. Perfect. It's not just these two, but there are a lot more improvements and enhancements that we could do to this workflow that we have, right? And of course, you can just basically extend from this flow, right? You can add more edge cases, and try to cover more different types of inputs, right? Right now you're passing the document. You can also provide like PPTs, or audio files, and you can just extend this as per your requirement, right? And thank you so much. This was a very quick video showing you how you can connect your Flowise chatbot with your Telegram, right? And also accept different kinds of inputs, like not just text, but also files and images. Hope you learned something new from this video. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments, or you can reach out to me on this email, right? And the resources that I've used in this video, both the Flowise Chatflow and also the n8n workflow, will be available for you to download in the description section. And if you want to work with me to build practical AI solutions, right, you can just reach out to me on this email, or also book a call directly on falcon27.com. And also let me know what you would like to see next, so that I can make more specific videos. So thank you so much for watching this video till the end, and I'll see you in another video. Until then, take care. Bye.